Hi, everybody. It is February 6th, 2025. My name is Hadley Byromovich. I am the owner of the Immigration Law Offices of Hadley Byromovich. And I have with me today, as always, senior manager and extraordinaire of immigration and going through the same trauma and drama and, being on the front line.
Hard times anywhere in the world right now. I was just looking at I don't know why I keep watching these stuff, but this video from Europe, this immigrant hidden in a restroom because somebody just came and do some like targeting immigrant shooting. And so it's just terrible, really terrible situation all over the place. So we're trying our best to keep up with everything, keep you informed and just to give you a little bit of peace. I know it's hard, especially these days, but we're all trying our best. So thank you, Hadley.
Thank you. We've been doing back-to-back consultations. Everybody is anxious and afraid. Some people won't leave their homes. They will go grocery shopping, where they're all asking us every 30 minutes, am I okay? If I file this, will I be removed? If I'm caught by ICE, what do I do? And say, who is the first person I call? And we're just answering the same questions on repeat over and over and over again, and we don't mind. We want to do it that way because every different person we talk to has a slightly different situation. And we want you to develop a relationship with an immigration attorney.
Mm-hmm.
And what we are doing is offering that will be on a retainer for people who are apprehended, so that if they're in an ICE processing facility, we can act, but we have to act quickly. And if you don't form a relationship with an attorney, that attorney can't act quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So we're telling people, sometimes it feels like we're adding tenants, but I think we'll stick with the 5 today.
Mm-hmm.
Be doing a different presentation for our deaf clients that will be coming soon, because for the deaf, we're adding a few more tenants because ICE, they're not equipped unless they have some members who are deaf with communication. So we're going to do a video for our deaf clients. So let's start with what we recommend for people who have fear because of raids that ICE is trying to hit every day. And I'll start that the border czar said this morning that they're only going after criminals, but people are being apprehended. They're going to a place of business looking for one person who they think is a criminal, and then they get 10 people who are in the same place of employment.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to diminish, we're not really looking for hardworking people that are not criminals, but they're getting more of those than criminals, because the numbers are around 1,500 a day, and the amount of criminals in the undocumented population is very, very low, minuscule.
They're also mentioning something about that even with DUIs, they're really focusing on people that have DUIs to detain them and remove
Well, I
them.
mean, it's criminal.
Sometimes people think I haven't killed anybody, I haven't had any drugs or
Yeah.
stuff. They think has made people be removed because they're like, I got a DUI and then ICE came and deported me. We had multiple cases like that through the years. And I think that's what the community needs to know, that if you have a DUI, you're going to be in the watch list also, because it's criminal and it's to the level they're looking for. It's not that I didn't kill anybody, so I'm not on that list.
Well, I can see why some think the DUI doesn't matter, because for adjustment of status. The DUI does not make you inadmissible. Doesn't
Mhm.
stop an adjustment of status, but it does stop somebody from having DACA.
Also,
Then when
I keep hearing them saying like, "Oh, but I pay everything. I completed everything," and we're like, "Great, but still on your
no,
record."
and then people think that it's like a credit report, like if you have a really bad debt issue that it falls off after 7 years. We've heard that many times. No, it's with you for life, honey.
Mhm.
But the other complicating factor is the Lake and Riley Acts. And we know so far that they're talking about theft-based crimes. I've caught stealing a candy bar by the Lake and Riley Act as mandatory detention.
Mhm.
We don't know all details, but the Lake and Riley Act will require that people who are arrested, not convicted, arrested for theft crimes have a mandatory detention.
Freaking out. She was
Uh-huh.
so scared to even give me basic information. She has
Yeah,
always are sharing it, but like Hadley said, these type of crimes are gonna be very hard now because this lady has a theft crime and she was like freaking out because her attorney was not answering her calls, and she was so scared to even provide me with basic information because she thought I was gonna give it to ICE. I was like, "No, you're calling a law firm. We help people."
I
Uh,
know.
so I
There,
told
there was
her,
many
"We can't."
people are so scared. They're afraid to come in here. We called somebody in to make an appointment to go over their case, and they're like, "Are you going to call ICE when we get there?" No, we're your attorney. We're protecting you from ICE. But that's the level of fear. They're coming in and talking to me, shaking. I'm hoping we can do everything so that you're not nervous to talk to me. I have around me right now 3 dogs that go up and say, hug me, and it works. Everybody who's okay with dogs, not everybody's okay. I'm very happy to see the dogs. We recommend for a tenant develop a relationship with an immigration attorney. That is the most important thing that anyone can do right now
Mhm.
to themselves from being removed and, if detained, getting um, out of the situation of detention and finding a long-term relief. Today or yesterday, we figured out 3 of our potential clients had green card cases and didn't know it. So it's important that you talk to an immigration attorney that you trust. We're available. Talk to an immigration that you trust. Develop a relationship. Put them on retainer. We need to act quickly, especially if you're from Mexico. Zyra got a call last week from a lady whose spouse had been picked up in the El Super grocery store parking lot. And he was picked up, what, 8 a.m.?
Yeah, 8.
And we find out, yes. So the call came into our office at 1:30. And by that time, he was already on the 2 p.m. van that goes to Tijuana from the San Bernardino ICE Processing Center. She didn't know his A number. We need any information to locate the individual. Zyra called me. Zyra was talking to the spouse. Another employee was talking to the consulate of Mexico. I was contacting ICE, but because we didn't have the information about this person, we couldn't act quickly enough.
Mhm.
And he called an hour later, he was already in Tijuana.
We explained to that lady, we're trying to help you, but it's very late already. And then you really don't have much information. And that's the thing about, those kind of situations that a lot of times people don't share the information. And I think it's so important, if you were ever caught, if you ever had a number or anything, please share it with your family and tell what happens. And that situation, the wife didn't know what happened. And so she was just like, I don't know, like, he didn't tell me anything. I don't know what happened or when, or I was thinking it was in this time he was caught and removed. So it's really hard to help somebody when you don't have much information, and the information you have, it's
Mhm.
so vague that it doesn't really help us. So I think it's very important. I know we don't like to remember those situations, especially with, such a trauma to like try to come to this country and not being caught and all these things. I can't imagine what people go through. Um, I mean, I have families with me, and it's just horrific, what they make them do. Tells because they just don't want to remember what they went through. So in these situations, we really need to share that information with your family so they know how to help you if you're detained.
Share that information with your attorney. Have them on retainer in case you're detained. The second thing we'll tell you our thoughts, but when you're detained, especially from Mexico, declare fear to be returned to your home country.
Mhm.
Because when you declare fear, the officer managing your deportation should allow you to see an immigration judge or do a reasonable fear interview or a credible fear interview if you got a prior removal. The officer should send you to a detention facility or not put you on that white van to Tijuana. And the reason why that's so important is because it gives your attorney time to act. People who are from Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras, Nicaragua, Venezuela, any other country around the world, except for Canada, don't have that same problem that a Mexican national does, which is the border's contiguous and there's a van that drives down to Tijuana. If you're afraid to go back, let the officer know. Now, there's a difference between being afraid of being deported and being cut off from your family, having fear to go back to your home country. And, the attorney that you should be developing a relationship with will help you articulate that fear. Now, I was speaking to somebody earlier who has a case pending, who is about 1 month from now going to an interview in her home country for a green card. And she's asking what she should do if detained. Tell the officer, my case is processing. I'm going to an interview in a month. People should talk about what their case is and learn how to explain the case with their attorney. But if you have somebody, a detainer like me, it'd be my job to contact ICE to say, this person has a case pending. Please let them go or let them go in front of an immigration judge so we can prove what relief has been filed and possibly close a removal proceeding. Declaring fear is one way to discuss with an ICE officer, but knowing your case and understanding what you have pending could also help you when you're talking to the ICE officer. Now, there are a lot of know your cards out there that say, don't talk. You have the right to remain silent. But that is, in my opinion, advice you give to somebody when they're arrested for a criminal charge, not for an immigration detention arrest, because the officers are not doing an investigation about whether or not they can remove you. They think they can remove you,
Mhm.
and they have information about why they think they can. So you're not going to self-incriminate. Well, you could self-incriminate on things they don't know. Like I told somebody I was a citizen 10 years ago. That would be a self-incrimination of revoking citizenship.
Or the times I've been in and out and there's no record and you're just, I
Yeah.
mean, yourself, like Ali said, that information you don't need to share. But a lot of people think they have to tell all this information. Very
Yeah.
important to understand that, like Ali said, you're not in a criminal situation that you're like, whatever you say is going to be against you kind of thing, which could be because if you actually say these things that we mentioned that about self-incriminating about, oh yeah, I said I claim to be a citizen, I'm sorry, I voted or I don't know, something like that, it could definitely put you in a bad
Self-incriminate
yeah.
can end up in your A file.
Mhm.
But we, as an attorney, trying to negotiate for you, we hope that you've been cooperative with the officer. We hope that you have Obviously answer questions like, my name is Joe Smith. I was born on January 1st, 1990. When officers ask you biographic questions like that, you should answer and don't lie.
Yeah,
Don't
basic
tell the
information.
officer. Yeah. Don't tell the officer you're from El Salvador if you're from Mexico.
Mhm.
You know, um, and the whole don't sign anything for manada. I mean, that's meant to protect people who can't read, who don't understand the paperwork, but that does not stop deportation. I can't tell you how many times we've done a background check and seen the paperwork that the ICE officer was completing. They just write, refuse to sign,
Mhm.
been deported. So again, we really want for you to be cooperative and work with the ICE officer so that when we're coming in, the attorney, in the next hour, the ICE officer will exercise discretion in your favor. If we're asking them, please, officer, don't put him on the bus to Tijuana, allow him to remain and go to a removal proceeding, that officer is more likely to do that. And so that's all I have to say about that. It does go against some of the Know Your Rights cards out there.
Which are most of them remain silent, don't sign anything. We need to understand what the position we're taking and what that's gonna cost in the long run. It's gonna be harder for us to advocate for you and get a good result.
Exactly. Even to get through to them. If somebody's being great and the officer wants to help, and then the lawyer calls and says, I'm representing this gentleman. And they might be like, thank God they got a lawyer. Let's see what we can do.
Mhm.
That's what we want. So, okay. So, number one question people are asking is, what do I say if I'm detained? Who do I call first? We don't want you to lie. Be cooperative and answer basic questions about yourself. And as far as your phone calls, we want you to call your family first. We say where you are. If you have an A number, tell your family your A number. Tell your
Mhm.
family attorney right now. The most important call is to your consulate. And the ICE officer has the telephone numbers to the consulate. The ICE officer cannot refuse to let you call the consulate. This was a right negotiated in the Vienna Convention that
Mhm.
you have the right when you're in custody to call your consulate. And I think most Americans know this. I mean, if you've ever seen Bridget Jones' Diary when she's like arrested and thrown in a Thai prison, she's calling her consulate. You guys have that same right, and if you're in San Bernardino, you're calling the consulates in San Bernardino. If you're on the other side of the country, like I was in South Carolina last week, you're calling the consulates in Atlanta. So the consulates can help you get in touch with your attorney, let your family know. One of the hardest things is to find out where somebody is detained in those first day or two.
Mhm.
It allows everybody to know where you are, and the consulate has real time information that lists during the week of who's detained.
All the detainees.
That's our number three, have a relationship with an immigration attorney. Number two, declare fear or understand your process so you can slow down your removal. Number three, call your consulate. Call your family, call your consulate. Number four, be sure that you have something on your person that proves that you've been in the US for longer than 2 years.
2 years. And that's important, Heidi, because there's an executive order that says that if they be here, I mean, less than 2 years, they're gonna be, removed. So I think most of our community, they've been here for more than that. So I think it's very important to
Yeah.
have something with you that shows that, because that means you're not gonna be on that list of people that have less than 2 years don't have a chance to stay
Yeah.
here.
Right. So you can be removed very fast. We call it expedited removal if an officer believes you've been here for less than 2 years. So we've had everybody ask, well, what do I need to carry with me? So
Mhm.
when people come here to talk to me, we go through their wallet and see what's in there that might prove that they've been here for 2 years. The most obvious one is the driver's license,
Mhm.
Costco memberships, debit cards.
Oh yeah, because that one
Um,
has the year you joined on the back. So yeah, that's true.
there's some documents that you can make copies of and keep, like your children's birth certificate. There are a lot of different ways that you can prove how long you've been here.
Mhm.
So the last thing is don't carry your passport.
Transport. Mhm. That's
Yeah.
just going to make it easier for the ICE officers to remove you to your country. They don't have to ask for travel permission because you're already carrying your passport. So they're like, oh,
Yeah.
you did my job easier having your passport.
Yeah.
We don't want that to
Uh-huh.
happen. Please do not carry your passport with you. Um, it's good to have a valid passport, it's always advised, but don't carry it with you because you don't want to make yourself easier to be deported. So keep it in your house in a safe place.
Yeah. And Zara, that ID from your home country, that
Mhm.
could be a document that proves that you've been here for more than 2 years. So keep those with you. The
Yeah, so my
matricula.
passport or tarjeta consular, that is called to most like Central American countries, we call tarjeta consular. Probably like the same thing in South America. So it's just matricula for the people from Mexico and tarjeta consular, consular card in the rest of the countries.
Yeah. So those are our 5 tenets. They're different than know your rights cards. There was a lady as I was speaking with on Monday who told me, oh, this is very different what you're telling me than what I've heard. And the reason why I'm telling you things that might sound different is because I have actually been in this situation many, many times when
Mhm.
people are detained in the morning, where I've had to race out to the ICE processing center in San Bernardino. So I know what I'm talking about. There have just been too many situations where I was like, I wish the best one of the best outcomes is detained and I knew everything about him. I was
Mhm.
able to list everything I knew about him. He has a US citizen wife, no criminal history, member of the church, contributing member of society. All those things are called positive equities. I was listing those things, and the ICE officer was like, sorry, ma'am, he's going on the bus. And another ICE officer heard me and said, wait a minute, wait a minute. We'll let him go on a supervision program. He has to check in once a month. So it became a negotiation.
Okay.
I had all the information I needed, and that's what we're recommending that everybody does is has an attorney that knows everything about you on retainer. And if you don't want to do that, visit an immigration attorney.
Get information, know your options, your rights. A lot of people are afraid to go to attorneys because
They
I don't
are.
they believe we're like ICE. We're like, no, please get advice, get information. A lot of people went to an attorney 10 years ago, have
Yeah.
like outdated information. Now we give them new information. Many times they are eligible for something now. And we're like, don't stay with that information that you got like 10 years ago from an attorney or an notario, which is worse. Get a professional advice from an experienced attorney. And like how we
Yeah.
said, we've
Like,
been doing this for more than 14 years together, and Hadley has been practicing for more than 20. So you do need somebody who knows what they're talking about, who knows, and Hadley, like she said, she has so much experience driving to the ICE facility and advocating for our clients. So that's very important for you to have that confidence of saying, I have an attorney and need to see a judge.
yeah, it's important that the attorney has been swimming in the deep end of the immigration pool, has experience, knows how to touch the bottom of the pool, not an attorney learning to swim in the baby pool that's just starting and has filed a few petitions. We've all started out that way, okay? To be fair to all the attorneys, but it's definitely in this situation necessary to have somebody who's a very qualified immigration attorney that has dealt with ICE and dealt with removal proceedings and, even dealt with the border. We have a group called border attorneys. Shout out to Taylor Levy. We've been to the border 50, 60 times, Zaire and I, dealing with people waiting for interviews. So, they're that practice over time, it means something. We have 8,000 people that we've represented, and they all called this week. So anyway,
And the point of Hadley, I know we have listeners in Maryland, and the attorneys there obviously don't have the experience we have in California or the people in Texas, Arizona, border cities. We get these deep,
intense.
yeah, we understand these complicated cases, and many times Hadley gets a lot of times actually Hadley gets emails from attorneys all over the US requesting information. It's important to understand where you're at and see and seek advice. And you can always call us. It doesn't matter if you're like in Michigan, we can still advise you and give you the information. And so I think that's also important in the beauty about immigration law, that you can still have an attorney anywhere in the US and be fine. And if you want more, an attorney with more experience, you want somebody that is these days near the border.
Zaire, you had a call the other night. Somebody had a scheduled check-in and they were very scared. And they called you the night before and you were able to talk to them and give them information. I think you were able to figure out more specific to the problem. So we have this summer. Zaire, is this coming across backwards?
Mm-mm.
This is our immigration detention hotline.
You're calling the hotline for if you were detained. Just an appointment with the consulate. You got the wrong numbers. Please have it handy. If you get detained, call us. I got a call late last week. This lady was afraid of her appointment. She was calling from Houston. She said, you could help me understand what was going to happen and what I need to do. She said, like Andy explained, I gave her different advices we're giving everybody. And I could hear how it changed, her voice changed once she was able to speak to me. So, I already called her back and she's going to call me back again to get a consultation and understand what her current situation means. So we're really happy that these numbers being shared, because that's what the purpose of it is for us. And this lady was having this lady was having a nice meeting, and like I said, anywhere in the US, you can call us 888-735-8731. And either Maddie or myself are going to be answering those calls. And, we're here to help.
Thank you, everybody, for listening to us, following us. We'll be back as often as we can. Sometimes videos and they don't come out and we have to make them again. So, like today, but we're going to try and put up content as quickly as possible. We'll be starting our new agreements are to be the Consulate of Guatemala's representative March 1st. So that will help us help a lot of people, especially. So please continue to follow us if you're from Guatemala as well. But it doesn't matter. We're here to help anybody from any country, and we do have good relationships with all consulates. So thank you very much for being here, and we will come back to you soon and hope to give you some more comfort.